Hey everyone, welcome back. So if you know me, you know I don't tend to stay in planners super long, at least not for sure throughout the entire year. So I thought I would show you really quick how I am using my Hobonichi Weeks. And honestly, this is kind of a throwback to what I was doing at the beginning of this year, because I was using a couple of weeks plus a few other planners. So today I actually just want to walk through what I'm doing with my Hobonichi Weeks and tell you what's working for me. So I'm going to start with this one. This is my work planner, which is a sunny yellow, and this is a Hobonichi Weeks cover that is very old, to be honest with you. I've had it for a very long time. So now we'll just jump in to how I am using the different sections. There are a million Hobonichi Weeks walkthroughs out there, so I'm not going to walk you through all the different sections, but I'm just going to show you basically what it is that I'm using. So the monthly pages are literally just kind of a monthly what's going on sort of a layout. So my work planner is really not decorated all that much. I just need something that is quick and easy to use. I have recently switched from using just a Uniball Jetstream pen. In this planner I am using a vanishing point. This is one of the matte black ones, extra fine tip. I was having issues with fountain pens in the Hobonichi Weeks and all the Hobonichi planners, to be honest, before, just because of the smearing, the dry time, and it was annoying to have to keep using blotting paper, and you really couldn't touch it for quite a while. And listening to people talking about how they're using their fountain pens, honestly, the key appears to be the actual ink you're using. So let me actually grab the ink, because before I was just using the Pilot like ink refills. What I have switched to that everybody is recommending was the Diartemis Document Ink Black. So this dries quickly. It, I believe, is waterproof, or fairly waterproof, so it doesn't smear very easily. So if you're going to use fountain pen on the Tomoe River paper, this is what I recommend you use. All right, so moving on. In the weekly section, I am basically just drawing a line in pencil to divide it into 1/3, 2/3. So on the left is just the appointments that I have. As you can see, just kind of looking back, I don't have a ton of appointments going on. So, and obviously I've just started jumping back into this. So this works well for me, because I usually only have maybe 1 to 3 appointments a day. And then on the right side, these are day-specific things that I need to do. So what I'm doing over here on the right is I have just a running task list for the week. So as things come up, as I remember things, as I'm asked to do things, this is actually where it goes. And then I have categories across the side. And they're fairly standard right now, but they will vary based on what I have going on. So if you think of these kind of as projects. So I do have a waiting for column. If I don't have any waiting for tasks, you won't see this. So it's just when I get something that I'm waiting for that I'll actually just write this in. I have a column for each of the 2 companies, because we recently split our company into 2, so this kind of helps me keep track, since I'm doing similar tasks for both companies, which one I actually need to do the tasks for. And then I have a column for my broker's license tasks. So classes essentially I need to complete, or, you know, taking final exams, things like that. So that's how I have this set up as far as task tracking goes. So this is the upcoming week here. You can see again, tasks. I don't have a waiting for column. And actually this is not going to be waiting for, it's going to be an NAA column, because I'm teaching a class that's a National Apartment Association class. So I need to start working on that. So these columns appear, disappear as I need them. So I like the flexibility of that. I did go back to using a tracker down here, so instead of writing the same things week after week, and you know, they repeat, so sometimes I do them several times, I'm putting them down here at the bottom. I will probably go back and put a dot on the days that I would like to do them, so that when I go through plan my day, essentially I'm looking over here, what do I have to do that day as far as appointments go. I look in this column to see what day specific tasks do I need to do. I check over here based on what I have already going on, what other tasks can I pull in, and then I take a look down here to see what recurring things do I want to do. And then I do actually record all of that back here on the like bullet journal type days. So depending on what this is, I'll go through and review it. So essentially, just at the top, I put with triangle for my appointments that I have, and I put down a dot to indicate tasks, which I don't have. I have some down here. There's a couple of dots. That's what it looks like when I haven't completed them. And I just write down the things that I want to do. As things come up, I'll put them in. Generally, if, like here you can see, I just left them alone. If I'm going to be kind of on the same pages, I'm not going to migrate them forward necessarily, especially if it's something that's not super important to get done like immediately the next day. I'll just look back when I'm like, do I need to do anything else? And check and see what's still open. If I'm having to flip through to another day, I am going to migrate them forward, or I might bump these back to this task list here. It just kind of depends. So at the end of the week, I usually peruse through and see what I need to move back. So I think, let's see, like I have the start TXBL experience log. I actually already moved that. So I will actually draw an arrow pointing this direction, letting me know that I actually put it in the task list for the week. Same thing with bank statements. Yep, I already kind of migrated those backwards. So I'll put an arrow there. If I put an arrow this direction, that means I've moved it forward to a different day. So it's kind of, I think that's how the bullet journal was kind of set up anyway. So I'm using kind of a standard version of that. I am putting an asterisk next to mostly things I actually need to leave the house to do. So I had to actually drive to the post office. So that's why that was there. So it's very simple, but that's how I'm using my work weeks. And the reason I switched to this from what I was doing in the half letter is I am starting to have more moving parts. For the last couple of months, the half letter worked because it was basically just a few extra tasks, but mostly classes. But now that I've finished my second to last class, I finished the coursework, I take the final next week. I have one class left, but I'm preparing for the next season, which means I'm going to be working back more on actual tasks and things I need to get done. So that's why I'm moving back into something that supports that. Now, as for my personal, again, this is the same planner I was using at the beginning of the year. Both of these are Hobonichi Weeks Megas. So I will jump into what I'm doing just specifically. So the months, similar situation where it's just kind of what's going on that month. Mostly, so if I'm out and somebody asks, can you, I can look at the day and say yes or no. For future planning, especially like things that range over several days, like these are the actual dates of the Assembly of Delegates conference, but I know I will be going for a longer period of time. In this case, I've now made my airfare reservation, so I can go in and say, okay, I'm going to be there the 14th to the 18th. So this just lets me know about when I'm going to be gone, but then when I get things firmed up, then I can actually put that information in. Now for the weeks, lost my week thing here. Okay, so this has become, let me walk you through kind of how I was doing this. So I think the last time you guys saw it, I was approximately here. And this is when I started trying to figure out how I wanted to use this. Originally it was just tracking mood, exercise, energy level, daily score. And then I decided, you know, I might want to take this with me because this fits better in my purse than the large traveler's notebook does. So then I started putting appointments and then day-specific tasks like I'm doing in my work bullet journal. And then I moved the tracking over into this column. I had an intermediate week. This drives me bananas because it's so crowded, where I was trying to figure out where do I want stuff to be. So again, day-specific appointments, day-specific tasks. I had moved, I just started doing tasks over here because I don't usually have a lot of day-specific stuff, and then I was still doing the tracking here because I had more room. So you can see I bounced it over here, and then I was like, maybe I should put it here and track dinner and some other things. But then I realized, no, I don't really need that much room, especially because I'm journaling in my Hobonichi cousin. So I moved it back over here. So that's why this is a transition week, trying to figure stuff out. I put a sticker in toward the beginning of the week. I was sad I did that because then I lost a bunch of room. So anyway, where we ended up, and this is working a little bit better. Again, day-specific appointments, day-specific tasks. I had been putting an abbreviation as far as what exercise I would like to do that day. W is walk, Y is yoga. And this I was bringing forward from a different Hobonichi Weeks, which we'll talk about in a second. But for literally a week, I was using this one for food prep and food planning because I'm trying to shore up how I'm eating. And so it's requiring a lot of prep and planning. So I was moving like the day specific tasks I need to do related to that into here. So I knew like what I needed to defrost, what I needed to prep, that sort of thing. This is working. So I have the temperature for the day, and then I just have my tracking information. So this is working well. I have to do, and then I had mail I was waiting to receive, and tracking. This is generally cleaning tracking, but let me show you kind of what I'm doing this next week because I've refined it a little bit more. I am noting up in the corner which organized mom method week we're on because this tells me kind of what my focus room is, and I have a hard time keeping track of what week we're on, so I've started just writing it up here at the top. So this is this upcoming week. These are kind of my cheat sheets, so I'll talk about those in a second. But essentially it's what I'm about to tell you. So the appointments, things I need to do each day, and then this is where I'm going to track. I've moved my tracker up here to the top because this doesn't need to expand. So it is what it is. So I have my level 1 organized mom method tasks, which is now closer to what week it is. Level 2 tracking and what the focus room is. And then I moved some of my like daily routine things that I want to make sure I'm doing every single day up here. So because I've moved the scripting out of the Traveler's Notebook into the days, which I'll show you in just a second. I don't necessarily want to take up the room to write the same things every single morning. So I've moved them here as a tracker. So when I write AM routine, then I know to pop back over here and just make sure I've checked off these things. And then I put my to-do list here in the middle, and then I put the mail that I'm expecting to receive if there's anything down here at the bottom. So that's how my week is shaping up to be set up going forward. So essentially that's what the sticky notes are: appointments, tasks, and notes. Just my tracking here, and then the tracker of this week and mail on this column here. Now, as far as days go, again, I'm using bullet journal method. This is kind of where I left off the last time. I do have a collection of upcoming ebooks and books that I'm wanting to read because I'm constantly like, it's the next book in a series, and I'm like, is it ready yet? No, it's not. And I keep looking at it because I have it in Amazon in a list, but it doesn't tell you what day it releases. And I get tired of clicking through going, oh wait, that's 3 months from now. Oh wait, that's next year. So I just put them in a paper list, which is easier to look at. And then I have used these little sticky notes to draw attention to notes I've made related to specific things. So I am organizing 3 services for the Daughters of the King. And so part of planning for that and getting an idea of what people are wanting to do and questions I want to ask people, I've put little purple sticky notes on it. So when I'm talking with people, I can quickly flip to where that is. I do have it up here in the index, so I know what pages they are, but this is actually easier for me to find. So again, simple bullet journal method. I was kind of mixing stuff for work in here originally, and then I decided to split work out again. I took notes on a random piece of paper. I just washi taped it in rather than rewriting it. I don't do that very often, but in this instance, I have a lot of these random papers left because I use scratch paper sometimes for my final exams that I'm taking, but you have to tear them up whether or not you write on them, and it's such a waste of paper. So I always tear them. I bring in half-size sheets of paper, so half letter size, and I tear them up into quarters when I'm done, so then I still can use it to write notes on. So that's why it looks like it does. I have notes on how I'm trying to eat, so notes on exercise, kind of reminding myself what the primal diet looks like as far as what sorts of things I need to be looking for, macros that I may want to aim for, more notes, and then this is kind of that daily scripting that I was getting into. But as you can see, it takes up a lot of room, and a lot of this is routine stuff. So I'll talk about that in a second. I'm slowly kind of whittling it down because I'd like to get 2 pages, 2 days per page. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for, and I'm getting there. So this is where I ended up, and it looks like you can see it. I'm actually just drawing this in and writing it in pencil because it does get changed periodically. So I basically copied what was in the other weeks. Just kind of the basic layout. All I did is I basically marked off this column. I just kind of pulled it in so it's all on one page. I was thinking I was going to do like the menu on this side and kind of weekly planning on this side, but then I realized, why would I want to do that? I have this week. So I think what I'm going to do, because again, playing with the notes pages and how I want these to look, I'm thinking that if I can get planned ahead toward the end of the month, what I would like to do, now that I know I can fit 2 pages per day, no, 2 days per page, I would like to have kind of a month page. So I have like a divider for that month. Then I can have how many weeks I need as far as menus, get those all drawn out, ready to go. So all I have to do is fill this in. So I basically will just draw something that looks like this. And then I can go through and do my daily pages. If I would like to do some monthly trackers or anything like that, I can put them in after these menu pages. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But again, I'm in the middle of the month. I'm still experimenting, so I'm not there yet. So when I get towards the end of September, I'll probably count ahead and figure out what I need to put in. I also do have pages in for just random notes and collections. So I have a 2023 planners page. Funnily enough, somewhat ironically, I'd already started one. So I have 2 of them. And it's interesting because they're kind of close. I did these on separate days, but this is actually a more distilled version of what this is. So anyway, I did thread it so I know what page the other one is on. So if I want to flip through and reference it, I can. And then I have notes for a meeting I was at today. So that's kind of how I'm using this. I'm really not being super precious with the pages in the back. That will probably change next year as I try and fit the entire year in. But I think kind of as I go through, when I did the calculation, I think depending on with the number of pages that I wanted to set aside for this planning here, as far as the collections I wanted to keep, jump back here, because I had these collections and then what I wanted to do in the weekly pages, I was still going to have enough to fit everything in. And I think that was planned on having all of the, like notes for every single day, which I may or may not have notes for every single day. And I might be able to condense some of these things. So the other thing I thought about is if I ran out of room, I do have several of these notebooks here. So the collections that I want to keep and maybe move forward to a new book, say for example my upcoming books list. Some of those don't come out till next year. If I don't want to rewrite the list, I can always just keep it in here. Same thing with a few other collections. The other option is if I really wanted to, I could potentially draw in my menus in here. But I don't think that's necessary, and I like having them kind of all together in one spot. So I can use these little books, these little week books, as overflow, or consciously put some of these items that I'm wanting to have in my notes pages in here. So some of these like last time I sorts of situations, maybe gift ideas, because those might flow from year to year. So that's how this is set up and being used. I am finding these actually very functional right now. So I'm kind of excited that I have switched into these. This one's very plain. This one has a little bit of deco. I've learned, because I do like some of my vinyl stuff and I move them from place to place. This vinyl is actually attached to a piece of acetate, and I've done that a couple of different times. So this vinyl is attached to acetate, so if I wanted to, I could tape it in, but I can also just peel it back out again. Right now I just have it tucked in the cover. And the same size, I have this Texas Girl attached, and you can probably see the outline of it underneath the cover. But that way I can move it from year to year. I don't have to worry about it. And I love this It's a Beautiful Life sticker. And the sticker book, it's from a Happy Planner sticker book, one of the Faith ones. Let me see. It's this one. It has the green bar, it has a heart, it has the Grace for the Day sticker in it. This book I don't think is, you can still get them, but I think they've been discontinued, so they're slowly going away. Because I love this sticker so much and I've used it in a bunch of different planners, I bought one more book because I didn't have any of this left, and I put it on a piece of acetate like I did these. So that way, again, I can put it in a planner, I can move it if I want to something else. It's kind of a way, I think, if you hoard stickers, if you have stickers you love that you don't want to basically lose once you're done with the planner, if you're somebody like me who likes to reuse things, it gives you a way to keep using those. So just something, a food for thought if that's something that you want to do. And yes, I know I have an October card in the front here. The Cocoa Daisy kit just came in, and so I had moved because this kit is really pretty. I think it's Autumn Thicket. I just love the colors. So I went ahead and just tucked these things in here. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh, one more thing. I don't know if I showed this. I might get questions on it. This is a multi-pen that, where is this from? I know I got it on Jet Pens, so you can still find it. It might be Uniball, but it does have black ink, red ink, and then it has a pencil. So I love this for here because I don't have to find a pencil when I want to draw lines in. So just a side note, and I think it came with 0.5 ink. It was the Uniball Jetstream ink refills, and I actually have refilled it with 0.7, at least for the black, because I prefer that width for the Uniball pens. So just wanted to let you know in case you're curious what pen I'm using in here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. If you enjoy this sort of planner related content, I encourage you to consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!